Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Look who we've got. Kylie, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Dale?
I'm doing wonderful. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. I'm very excited for this.
Me too. I'm very excited to talk to you. I hear great things about you, and I can't wait to hear what you've got for
Good to
me.
know that the my history is good now. There's some good things
Oh yeah,
said.
yeah. No, you've got a good rep. You've got
I'll,
a good rep.
I'll
The
take
gang
that.
knows who you are, and they say good things. So,
I will take that. We'll take that. Now, I saw about 2 weeks ago, Damn Handy released on
oh,
YouTube.
what'd you think?
I thought it was good. I thought it was actually really good. I was watching it literally just before you joined. I was rewatching it just to make sure. But what a film. I wanted to know your thoughts on it, especially you got to do another project with Roger. Like,
Yeah, I absolutely loved working on that film. Roger brought it to me. He and the filmmaker Peter Filardi had done a film together previously, and another short film, and we were sort of just coming out of the strike, and so I was really anxious to be on set. And Roger sent it to me, and I said, "Oh yeah." Yeah, this will be fun. And it really was. It was such a great experience. It was a local crew in Connecticut, and they brought in a lot of young talent to work on the film. So if we have obviously some special effects makeup, and that they brought in high school kids to do some of that, really empowered young people in the community, and they were exceptional. I think, one of the great things about doing that project was that I didn't have to worry about like makeup or costumes. She gets to just really be raw and very in touch with her feelings. Let's just say that. And so there was a lot of freedom on that set, a lot of freedom to just try stuff. Also, the horror community is so cool. Like we've gone around to a bunch of film festivals with this film, and I just feel like there's so much artistry within the horror film community, similar to the video game community. Lots of young people who are excited about the genre, so lots of energy at these events. So I loved doing it, and working with Roger is always a dream, an
I
absolute delight.
feel like it's always good when you bring people who need that experience onto a set or it's just the vibe. And especially,
Yeah.
I feel like Roger would have been pretty funny as well acting with because I've heard some stories.
Yeah, he is funny, but he's also really good at what he does, and very respectful of the writers and everyone in the room. I always tell this story about Roger. Like Roger was there almost every day of shooting this thing, and there were a lot of actors who would come in just for one day, just for 2 days, and Roger would be exhausted and on a lunch break, but he would always work with the other actors if they wanted to run their lines. Like Roger always knew he was part of a company and acted as such. So yeah, he was a really good number one on that show project game.
You've got it. I was talking to Alex about the Red Dead group chat because it started
Yeah.
with Rob and then it moved on to Alex. Now she was explaining like everyone's role in the group chat, and she said that you're like the mum of the group chat, and I wanted to know if that translates well to if you think that is your role.
Of course. Of course. It's my role in the game, and it's my role in real life, and it's my role on the group chat. Yeah. I do. I have that like maternal thing going on. I want to make sure everyone knows when it's someone's birthday, and or if someone's doing another project, I want to make sure that they know that I'm their biggest fan. And sometimes there are heartbreaks amongst our group, and sometimes there are huge celebrations and people having babies, and um, yeah, I do. Sometimes I do feel like everyone's mama.
The role kind of translate well from the game to the group chat. It just connects
Yeah.
well. Just connects.
I think Kylie is a more benevolent mother than Susan. I'm a little less tough love in real life.
I was gonna say a little less violent compared to what we see in the game.
I always laugh because the first time I ever worked with Meeya, who plays Tilly, we just really hit it off right away. And she and I have stayed extraordinarily close. But the first day that I worked with her was that scene where I'm telling her to get back to work. And she says, "But I don't feel well, Miss Grimshaw." And I say, "I don't care how you feel, girl, get to work." And I like throw her to the ground by her ear. And so we really had to do this thing. I mean, what I grabbed was like sort of like a helmet, like an arm on a helmet, and tossed her to the ground. And I mean, the viciousness started right from the get-go. And yeah, yeah, we just went for it.
Do you think you'll ever, with everyone recently starting to stream, like Rob and Roger, do you think we'll ever see you streaming Red Dead and reacting to the gameplay?
Oh, this is an excellent question. Here's the problem. I'm terrible at playing the game. I mean, when I say I'm terrible, I mean like I can't stay alive long enough to complete missions. Like unless I have like help. Like sometimes I'll have my daughter come help me. She's, she's 19 now, but when the game first came out, she was probably way too young for it, but I needed help. I mean, the next, like, I'm literally just trying to like get on my horse, but then I accidentally pull out a gun and then people are chasing me and then I'm terrible at running away. And I don't know. I think streaming could be really frustrating for everyone would just be shouting at me like what to do. And I'd be like, I'm so sorry, I'm dead again. I'm respawning somewhere.
I remember just before I got Red Dead, I remember my cousin gave me a go on his PlayStation at the time. And I remember in 5 minutes, all I had was about 5 minutes, I alerted like all the sheriffs to me. And I also shot my gun in the air trying to get on the horse in 5 minutes. That was my first 5 minutes with that game.
Yeah, it's really like, and if you don't play like all the time, at least for me, because I didn't grow up gaming, right? And so I, I have to relearn everything all the time. So I'm like, I'm literally just trying to take out like horse tonic and I'm accidentally taking out like a knife. Like and I can't remember how to crouch. And I mean, I think it would be embarrassing for everyone involved if I tried to stream with fans.
Didn't Roger say recently, you said the hardest part of doing Red Dead was the crouch walk? Like one day to come in and do the crouch walk.
Oh, yes. And I didn't have to do as much of it as he did, but yeah, we had to do that crouch walk and the women are in heels.
Oh,
So you're doing
Jesus.
the crouch walk in heels.
That sounds rough.
Yeah, a lot of leg strength involved.
Were there any other scenes kind of similar to that where it's just a lot of work?
I mean, honestly, even the tough stuff I never really found annoying because it was just, you have to think about this. Like, I've always wanted to be an actress. So when I was young, that was like play pretend, right? Like just pretending. And if you can picture the volume, have you ever been in a volume where motion capture is happening?
No, I want to. I want to, but I have not.
Yeah. Oh, you got to check it out. It's amazing because obviously the cameras have to be 360, right? Because
Mhm.
the player can enter from anywhere. So every scene has to be shot fully around. So it's like doing a play at like theater in the round. At the same time, you do have that camera that is like close up on your face because they want to catch all that face acting. And then, but then everything is play pretend. So, if Susan is on a horse, there's like a structure and it's the size and the scale of a horse and there's a real saddle and a real bridle and sometimes I need a little help getting up um, but then I'm on there going like this like when you were a kid or like if Susan is smoking that's a straw, right? And then the animators are doing it, so I never really found anything annoying. Wait, I'm lying to you. I'll tell you what drove me crazy. Walk and talks.
Walk and
There
talk,
was,
okay.
I think that's what we call them. I can't remember. Were they called walk and talks? I think they were called what? Walk and talks is something different on film and TV, but they were scenes basically where you had to use gestures because you had to be identifiable, right? So like if it's an open world game, there's different characters talking, like it has to be identifiable. And these were always with Roger. But like you can't gesture to him. You can't point at him. You can't go away. You can't do anything towards him because we don't know exactly where the player is.
Oh, okay.
And there was something about those scenes that brought me to my knees. And I remember our director would be like, Kaili, we've done so many of these. Why do they still drive you crazy? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know what to do with my hands or my arms, or I don't know. I felt like I was just like flapping wing. So yeah, those are the only things that drove me a little crazy was when I had to gesture, but not to Roger.
To
I think I
nobody.
had to nobody.
To nobody.
Yeah, just to the camp at large.
We'll get back to Red Dead because I kind of wanted to ask more about your origins. Obviously, you studied at Boston University and then you went straight to New York afterwards. How did you know
Yeah.
that was a moment that you'd want to give your life to? Like, you knew you were good at this, you were going straight into the deep end.
So I actually started sooner than that. I was a child in Los Angeles, and I started like I was discovered by an agent, and I started in commercials as like a young child. And then we moved when I was like 10 years old to a small town in Utah in the mountains, sort of in the middle of nowhere. And then we actually moved to Park City, which is more well known. And I really didn't have any friends when we first moved. I was like starting fifth grade, and I didn't know anyone. And we were these weird hippie kids from California. And this theater company came into town, and they were casting The Wizard of Oz.
Oh,
And
that's a
I
big production.
auditioned. Yeah, and I got the part of Dorothy. And it sort of magically brought me a community of like-minded people. Theater people are the greatest people. So, and that I'm talking about stage managers and lighting designers and costume designers. Like, I really found my tribe. And so I loved acting so much. And then we moved again when I started high school. We moved to a small town in upstate New York, and I did the plays there. But yes, it wasn't until I was going to college and I told myself I could audition for like a few of these really high level acting conservatories. And I felt like if I got into any of them, it was meant to be. And if I didn't, I would find another path. And I did. I got into this incredible program at Boston University and got a BFA in acting. But when you say, how did I know I wanted to dive in? I got very lucky. I signed with a very big agency right when I graduated college. And so I moved to New York with great representation, and that's a big help. That's a big help.
Like a
So
jump start kind of in your career there.
yeah, yeah,
Jump
yeah. I
start.
got really lucky that I had, that this big agency that found me in Boston and believed in me. And so, yeah, I started auditioning right away, right when I got here.
And one of your earlier credits was Celebrity, and unfortunately you were cut from that.
Yeah,
Do you think that shook your confidence back then, or were you kind of just used to it because it was just that business?
that is a great question. It absolutely would have destroyed me, but I was already shooting Sweet and Lowdown. So I knew that Woody Allen didn't cut me because he didn't like me, because when I found out I was cut from that film, I had a bigger part in his next film. And I was already shooting that with Sean Penn and Samantha Morton. Celebrity was an incredible experience though, because I was working with Judy Davis, Bebe Newworth, Vanessa Redgrave. I mean, all of these actresses. And I remember like being on set, and we were actually in a location that was not too far from my apartment. We were shooting in this bar on my first day on that film. And I remember I was rushed in from the hair and makeup trailer, and I was sitting now with all these women stars who I admired so much. And Woody Allen was like behind my head, and he was about to say action. And I remember just going, I'm here. Like this just moment of
Back
like,
to consciousness.
I've done it. Yeah, like I'm living my dream. And it was really incredible. It was really an incredible experience. Unfortunately, all of the scenes that I was in were cut. So it wasn't it I could actually tell you the story of why they were all cut, but it doesn't really matter. It was just the scenes weren't working. And so I learned a ton, and I would have absolutely been devastated if I wasn't already on set
I f-
shooting his next film.
I feel like it could just happen to the best. It can happen to anyone. So it
Yeah,
can be unlucky
yeah,
to anyone.
yeah. I know. I don't know a single actor worth their salt who hasn't been fired. I really don't. And sometimes it's. I did. Yeah, I don't know if I've. Well, I don't want to tell every story, but sometimes it has nothing to do with you at all, and sometimes it does. And I think Woody Allen is very famous for firing people. What happened with Celebrity was he replaced Vanessa Redgrave with Elaine Stritch, because Vanessa Redgrave is this British, very proper actress, and he felt like it wasn't working.
Hmm.
So then he cast this bawdy American actress. But I think with a director like Woody Allen, he sees actors as like, if an artist is painting a mural and they're putting yellow, and they're all of a sudden think this yellow isn't working, this needs red. I think that's what Woody Allen does. So I know so many New York actors who've been replaced by Woody Allen that say he never even told me he didn't like what I was doing. And it's because he doesn't think you're a bad actor. He just thinks he put the wrong color on the wall.
Haven't you worked on
Uh,
6 projects with him or collaborated on
yes.
6? That's a lot.
Yes. I've done 6 Woody Allen projects. Yeah. Yeah.
Very
And
impressive.
yeah, thank you. Thank you. A lot of fun.
A lot
I
of
have a lot of fun. It's a great set. He runs a great set.
Now, something I kind of want to ask because it's kind of similar in the realm to what I do, but back in 2020, you had a podcast called The Let's Play. Was that like a
Mm.
COVID-born project? And do you think we'll ever see it return?
Gosh, I had so much fun with that. We started before COVID. I was hired by a company that was like women in gaming platform. And they initially started out, they were going to be doing a lot of live events. That was what they were doing. They wanted to bring together women in the gaming space. And it was such a great, I thought it was just a great platform. And they brought me in and asked me if I would do this podcast. And so I think I had done like one interview before COVID hit. And so it became a big part of their platform because they couldn't do their live events. I have to say, I loved it. I don't know if you love doing this stuff, but it was such a new skill for me to read. Like I can tell you've done a lot of research about my career already, and it means so much to me. And I would do that same thing. So I was, spending all this time learning about things. Like I interviewed women who were managers for esports teams or women
Oh,
who were
Team Liquid. I remember this.
yes, yes, yes. Or like an amazing like game developer, who's like a pioneer in the industry. And then of course I'd sneak in my friends like Alex.
Alex. Yeah.
Alex. I interviewed Noshir and his wife, and I interviewed men too, Roger and Rob. My friend Jen from Overwatch. Like we just like did a lot of stuff. I, and then when COVID was sort of over, they started doing their live events and the podcast just became less important to their platform. So I don't know if it would ever come back. I don't think it would come back as the same thing. I think that, they've changed their whole platform. They're doing something else entirely now. And but it was really special for me. And it kept me busy during COVID, kept my brain active, it kept me engaged. And because of what I do for a living, I already had a professional voiceover booth in my apartment. So, I was able to do that from home and stay connected. So I also found that I liked editing sound. They hired a great editor. So he actually did the physical editing, but I would tell him timestamps like cut here. And I found that it was like really fun. Yeah, I loved it.
I say that too when it comes to editing, but then I'll notice like small mistakes and then that will just be imprinted in my brain when I'm editing. Gets me
Mm-hmm.
every time.
Uh-huh. When I interviewed Roger for that podcast, he was out walking his dog in the woods and his service kept dropping. And so it would drop and then I'd be like, Roger, I lost you here. Let's like pick it up again so that I can hear that whole answer. And so editing that together, like when the sound would drop and come back and drop and come back. And I still, when I would listen, I'd hear like little teeny tiny mistakes.
I had that.
But yeah.
I've had that happen with someone just lagging constantly. Like they'd be talking, and then in the middle of their sentence, it just cut out, and then it'd cut to them at the end of their sentence. That was fun.
Oh,
That was a
no.
lot of fun.
I know, and you have to act normal when it's happening too, because you don't want them to get stressed and you don't want the flow of the conversation to get dropped. Yeah, I feel you. I feel your pain. I've been there.
Do you think we'll ever see an independent release of like a podcast hosted by you in the future?
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't really thought about that. I mean, I did really enjoy it, but I am an actress for hire. That is really what I like to do. I really like to show up on someone else's set, someone else wrote the script, someone else is directing it. I know in this industry, people always say you got to make your own content, but I really like showing up and being one piece of a puzzle and doing that as best as I can. So I guess my answer to your question is I don't have any plans to jumpstart my own podcasting career.
Not yet. It could be a
Not yet.
secret.
You never
It
know.
could be
You
a
never
secret.
know.
Now, you do have some impressive roles over your history. And something I saw, because I was just watching the show, and I saw that you had an episode appearance in House of Cards, which is a great show. I gotta say that. That must have been cool. That must have
That
been
was
cool to do.
so cool. That was incredible. I had auditioned for House of Cards pretty much every season. And a couple times I had gotten really close and not gotten those roles. So when it came so I'm in the series finale, I'm in the very last episode. And they wouldn't release any information because, well, it's very tight, right? Like nobody
The
wants to give
finale.
away how the series is going to end, right? So I remember just being in with the casting director and the casting director saying, I can't really tell you how big this role is or how many lines you'll have. I just want you to know that you will want to be in that room. And it was so true because, Robin was starring in it and she directed it. She is one of the most brilliant women I've ever been in the presence of. So, yeah, it's an honor. Honestly, it was an honor to work with her, to have her directing me and to get to do a scene with her. It was a privilege.
Do you think with like kind of your history of roles and your like authority figure, do you think you'd ever play like a female president in a film? I think that'd be pretty cool.
I love that idea. I love that idea. I did audition to play the president in a series. I don't know if I'm supposed to say, but I didn't get it. I think so. I think I could. I think I could hold that.
I
Yeah.
feel like
I
with your
think I'd love
background,
it.
you've got this. I feel like.
Yeah.
Because I
Yes.
feel like, based on what you were saying, how you are in real life versus obviously your Red Dead character, I feel like that's kind of like the mix of good elements for both. Because obviously presidents can be chilled and laid back, but they can also be quite serious and quite brutal, especially during stressful times. So I feel
Yeah.
like it will like link.
I love this. I love this idea. I may have to put it on my bucket list. I would love it.
Play a president. There you go.
Would it have to be an American president?
Oh, it doesn't have to be. You never know.
Mhm.
You may get a casting call for a president, not for the US. Could be another country. You never know.
I'm not great at accents, though. I'm not great at accents. Sometimes I was during the pandemic, I was watching a lot of like Danish television, and I kept saying to my agents, like, you got to get me on one of those shows. I'll just be the American woman. Because I really, especially my daughter can do an Australian accent. She's not an actress or anything, but she can just do. I could not. I would have to work with a coach for like 6 months before I'd be willing to even try. Yeah, it's not my skill set.
So
Don't tell my kids to you.
I struggle with an Australian accent. I've lived here all my life.
I've never been to Australia, and I'd really like to come.
Comic-Con or some event, get you over here. That
Yeah,
way,
I don't think any of our gang has done an Australian con. I think that's a really good idea.
I think you should, because I know they're doing PAX in October. That'd be cool for all like the Red Dead people to come down.
Oh,
And
that would be cool. Yeah.
that
I
would be
think we
really
should
cool.
make this happen. How do let's make this happen.
Alex said you have to reach out and ask them.
You do. You should get, if you have Red Dead fans, if you guys request us, that is the best way.
And then you'll see them all in Australia. Boom, they're there.
There. And
They're
there we
there.
are.
What has been your most memorable like interaction at an event? So I know you've done quite a bit since Red Dead has come out, and I have
Yeah.
seen some of the crowds, and it's been pretty cool. Out
Yeah.
of all of them, what was your most memorable, and what was your most funny?
So I don't know if I could tell you the most memorable. I would say that it has been this beautiful experience that I was not expecting. The very first one I did was 2019. I went to London, and like I said, I didn't grow up playing video games. So I thought it was going to be a lot of like young men, teenagers. I did not expect so many women to be there, and women who were my age would be there, and they would come meet me and they would say, this is what I do when the kids are asleep. This is how I relax. And then to have, our game did such an incredible job with the women. The women in the Vanderlyn gang are all fully fleshed out characters. They all have value in the gang. They all contribute. They're not hypersexualized. They really get to be full women. My character, she's middle-aged. She gets to be bossy and cranky and nasty and a pain in the ass. And, Karen gets to be a falling down drunk. Like everybody gets to have their own failings and still hold value. And that, I would say, overwhelmingly has been what I've heard from fans that has stuck to my heart. How great it is to be a woman and see other women that they can relate to, that aren't just side pieces, that aren't dismissible, and that you're rooting for, and that you want to hang out with at camp. So that to me has been the biggest surprise and the best surprise. And then, you know, people who play our game are a really special kind of fan. And so there's like an open heartedness that has surprised me. So people will wait to see us and then they'll say, this game got me through bullying, or it got me through my mother's cancer diagnosis, or COVID. I couldn't see people in real life, and this is how I made friends. Or I was just going through a really hard time, and this game let me feel my feelings. So really, I think our fans are the greatest fans in the world. I really do. And it's not like that with every fandom. You know, there's something really special about Red Dead fans, and so I would just say it's all been surprising and beautiful, and a bonus. I never thought that I'd be doing this kind of thing. I was already in my 40s when I started shooting this game, and so I didn't think that I'd be like a middle-aged woman meeting people like you, like getting this call from this young exciting gamer in Australia wants to talk to me. It's really a gift.
I feel like I kind of see it as well with like the Red Dead like pack and like the people, because I remember when I did my first Red Dead interview, I swear they've all stuck with me, even for all my interviews that aren't Red Dead related. I remember they watched it. There's one person, I didn't notice this for ages, but when I did my first Red Dead interview and I was starting to post like, you know, short clips on TikTok and all that, I remember there'd be comments about like who I should get next. And I never
Who
realized
was the
this.
first one? Who was the first one?
Roger Clark was
Roger.
the
Okay.
first one. And I remember going through these comments again, and I remember I saw two names that were like very like. It was Alex and it was you. I never realized this. They were saying because I said in the comments, is there anyone else you'd like to see me talk to next? And I was looking at my replies, and the two most liked were you and Alex. I never realized
Wow.
this. Never realized this until I went back and
That's
looked.
so cool. Yeah, Alex is incredible, isn't she? She's really, she's a gem. I love that woman. And I mean, I love the whole gang. I really do. But the women, we have a special bond, I would say.
I'm getting
Yeah.
deja vu. I had this exact conversation with Alex as well during our during our interview.
I mean, it's really not surprising because it's really true, you know, and honestly, and that might be the other thing that's so much fun about going to these events is that we all get to be together, you know, we're kind
Always
of far.
like the group photos when you guys are like doing like a dinner or something after an event, and I swear the smiles are the same. They're always big smiles. It's always like such a fun photo.
Yeah. 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 We adore each other. And I think that's evident. And I think that it comes through. I think the fans can feel that we really like to be together.
Red Dead wasn't your first Rockstar project. You were in GTA as Miranda.
Yes. But Red Dead was my first. I
Wait, did
did.
wait, did you start Red Dead and then do GTA at the same time?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I've been
Yeah.
struggling with this because I was trying to figure it out because I wasn't sure. Because with the filming of Red Dead and GTA, I was like, I don't know what she did first. I'm taking a gamble here with how I
Yeah.
say this.
So I had been doing Red Dead. I don't know for how long. I'm not sure about the timeline, but I want to say at least 2 years. And I got a call to go to work from my agent, just like any other booking. And the way things worked with Red Dead was that we would show up at Rockstar's New York offices and we would be taken to set in a van. So that's what I thought was happening. And I ran into one of our producers on the street and he was like, "What are you doing down here?" And I said, "I'm coming to work." And he said, "No, you're not." I said, "I am." He said, "No, you're not working today." And he jumped on his iPad and he went, "Oh, you're on GTA today." And I was like, "I'm on what now?" I had
That's so
no idea.
surreal to
I
hear.
had no idea. Yeah. So I went in and yeah, and they said, "This is the character. She's, you know, she's like this, she's like that. This is, you know," and what was really important was she can't sound anything like Susan. And so and it was fun because it was really a lot of filthy fun dialogue and they would just throw it up. There was no rehearsal. It was really just we were just
Straight in.
running through it straight in. Yeah, that
Do you,
was really fun.
do you think working on Red Dead kind of helped you with GTA? Because like as you were saying, like similar people. Was it the, like similar tech in a way, or?
Well, everything I did for GTA was in a voiceover booth. I didn't do any of the motion capture for her. So nothing like Red Dead, but yes, the same creative team. Some of them were the same. Do you know what's crazy? I was in Venice, Italy, like 2 weeks ago, and this guy who worked at the hotel who was so nice, when we were checking out, he was like, I think I know you. And I was like, it's like, have I seen you somewhere? And I said, maybe I'm an actress. And then he said, oh, were you on The Path, which is a show I did for Hulu? And I was like, yeah, I was on that show. He goes, but I feel like I know your voice. And I said, yeah, probably Red Dead. And he was like, no, I don't know that. And then he went, you're Miranda. You're Miranda Cowan. And I couldn't believe that someone would recognize my voice from that.
That's pretty cool.
It was pretty cool, right?
Pretty
It was
cool. Also, you worked on 2 Rockstar projects. What a career. 2.
I mean, right? Yeah. I mean, it was like starting to work with Woody Allen right out of college, right? Like if you're going to do a video game, get right into Rockstar.
I'd
I
laugh.
had no idea. I had no idea that I think I'd been on the game for like a year before I had any idea that this was something that like fans were going to be really excited about. Roger told me, he was like, I think this is going to be a big deal, Kylie. And I was like, really?
I'd laugh in like 10 years your Wikipedia said that you've collaborated with Rockstar Games like 4 times in your career, kind of like the Woody Allen fact that you have. That'd be pretty funny to see.
Anytime they want me to show up, I'm there. I'll
Your
show up
bags
for
are
Rockstar.
packed. They're already ready
That's
to
right.
go.
That's right. I'm ready to go.
Now, I wanted to know, with Red Dead, obviously you
Yeah.
spent 4 years, I think it was, on Red Dead working on it.
Yeah.
How do
It's
you
over about 4.5. Yeah.
how do you stay creatively engaged with the character over that long?
Oh, that's easy. I mean, that was really easy because we were working together. Like there was such heavy NDAs, Dale, that we weren't even allowed to follow each other on social media because fans were so hungry for information. They were rabid and they're brilliant. So they would like piece together, oh, this person was in the first Red Dead and they just became friends with this person and this. So we like couldn't even, so we were so excited anytime we got to work. We just couldn't. And if I know you have mentioned how cool everyone is, but they're also really talented. So it was like going to work with this cream of the crop. Like the actors are so good at what they do. So when I would get a scene and I'd go, oh, I'm going to get to work with Sam Strelitz today. We're going to do this Mary Beth scene. Like I know that someone was going to bring their A game, and I just couldn't wait. The other thing, staying creatively engaged with her, is that unlike really any other character that I've ever played, I really helped create this character. I mean, I didn't write any of her. I didn't improv anything. Everything is on the page. But because I'm the only person that has ever played her, and because it took so long, that the role sort of evolved with me, and I would notice when I came to work that like little things about Susan's presence have changed based on what I've brought to the role. So it became my ownership over her was like total. Like I really felt like they're writing for me now, and I know what they want. And also the director, Rod Edge, is like just, he's one of the best directors I've ever encountered, and he knew what he wanted and he knew how to get it from me. There was never any phoning it in from anyone. We were all there to play, and play we did.
I feel like the real secret is, how did you get the scar on your face? How did Grimshaw get the scar?
I don't know. I have my theories, but I don't know. What
What's
do
your
you think?
theory? What
I
is
can't tell.
what?
I can't tell you because then they'll be like, Kaili Vernoff said, what's your theory?
See, I don't know, because I've read so many online that I've kind of just jumbled my original theory now. You don't understand. There is like in-depth theories on how you got your scar. I spent ages trying to figure out if you answered this already. Like,
See, that's why I can't tell you, because then they'll say, for example, I've like I'm barely ever on TikTok. Like somebody told me to go on there, and I've gone on there and I posted a couple of videos, and then I was like, I don't have time for this, or I can't take it, or I don't know. I'm never there. Recently, someone sent me something, and it was like a video, and people are saying with total authority that the scene where I slap Arthur, where Susan slaps Arthur, was improvised. And that's why his laugh sounds so genuine. And people say it as though it is true. This actress has admitted that that's not true at all. The scene where you show up at Camp Dirty and I give you a smack, that was totally scripted. And I actually forgot that I actually hit Roger. I thought that I kind of stage slapped it, but he was like, "Oh, you hit me and you hit me harder than I was expecting." But it was certainly, I would never just hit an actor like just because I felt like it.
Legalized
And so,
violence.
yeah. And so, it's such a great little moment because Susan is probably the only person in the entire world that could smack him across the face and not get shot, you know? She has that. I remember we worked so closely on that relationship between the two of them that it was like not like a sister, not like a mother, but maybe like your best friend's mom who like you'll take a little ribbing from, maybe you'll flirt with her a little when you're at her house. Like it was like that kind of, she has like she's known him since he was so young. She has that kind of free reign to sort of put him in line. But anyway, yeah, so I'm very wary of like anything I say, people will say is canon. But the truth is, no one like wrote down her backstory and gave it to me. So I have theories, but there's no way I'm speaking them out loud.
Yeah, because you'll see an article leaked, confirmed how this guy actually happened.
Exactly. Exactly.
Do you think kind of with like Susan being like the backbone of the gang because she never forgot that it was a gang. Like obviously it kind of was a bit of a family, but it was more of a gang. And when she obviously spoilers here, when she was shooting Molly, that wasn't just shocking, it redefined who your character was. Did you
Yeah.
know that she'd always go that far, or did that surprise you?
It really did surprise me. It really did surprise me. I think you're right. It redefines it. I think that is when everything is really falling apart. The fact that Susan would go that far shows that there's that kind of desperate animal instinct that's taking over. Susan's whole reason to be is to keep everybody safe, to keep us moving, to keep us safe. This is why she is always telling the women you have to find value beyond how you look, because you do not want to find yourself on the sidelines and pushed out. She really believes that the only place of safety for her and the people she loves is if we stay together. And so there certainly is speculation about her feelings about Molly and the relationship with Dutch. She certainly has feelings about Molly and her vanity and her lack of contribution. Of course, there's feeling there of displacement because of their previous relationship. But the fact that she, without a second thought, takes Molly out of the equation just shows you how dire and desperate things have become. And when Karen calls her on that and says, she was just a woman in love. She was just a woman in love. And you can see that Susan can no longer defend herself. She no longer can defend her own actions. And I think, we see that with almost every member of the gang, that they are losing their center and they are losing who they think they are. I wouldn't say it's 100%, but I would say that you really see people losing their grip on reality and their moral compass. So yeah, I think you pulling that out is really perceptive. I think that is the moment where Susan loses sight of who she is.
Do you think in her final moment when she turns on Micah, she's kind of like the only one to stand besides Arthur? Did you feel like
Yeah.
that was redemption, or do you think she was just staying true to her code?
Oh, that's a great question. I think she's staying true to her code. I think that I think when she says loyalty is everything, I think that is what she means. I think that that's who she is and that is what she hangs on to, which is why it is so awful that nobody even checks on her as she is bleeding out. I mean, she is just lying there dying and no one even gives her a second. And so what that says about this sense of loyalty that she has dedicated her entire life to is not there for her at the end. I mean, no one tries to save her and no one even holds her hand as she dies.
Now, do you think Micah, do you think he killed Susan because deep down he was scared of her? Like how he knew she wouldn't hesitate to kill him the same way she did to Molly?
That's a great question. I mean, I think if you watch Micah's patterns, Micah will just do what serves him in the moment. And I think he is feral. I think he is completely feral. Not that he's not calculating in some way, but I think he saw his shot and he took it. and how
Literally.
brilliantly played by Peter. I mean,
It's funny, he's such a like his role in the game is so brutal, but in real life he is so sweet. I've seen clips, he's like the funniest man I've seen.
he, yeah, he's an absolute dreamboat. Don't tell him I said it. No, but he knows. He knows I adore him. Yeah, he's one of the funniest people I have ever encountered in my life. Which was hard sometimes on set when when he would say these like horrible things to me. When he would say, "Oh, I bet you were a tiger back in your day," you know, I would try not to bust out laughing because he's absurd. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think he's just feral and I think he's just protecting himself at every turn.
This is kind of more on a lighthearted topic, and I know you've probably been asked this a million times, but do you have
Bring
like
it.
a favorite line that you or another character has said, or something that just made you giggle?
I don't know. I don't know if there's anything. I mean, obviously for making you giggle, Susan says, I've seen shit with more common sense than you. She's like,
That's a good one. That's a good one.
but I don't know. I don't think I had a favorite line. I mean, I know you said this is lighthearted, but probably the answer to that question is when she's sending Tilly off into the world and she says, "You've grown into a fine young woman. You'll be all right. I just know it." When she's sending her off because Meeya was pregnant at that time and we were wrapping up. We knew that we were coming to the end of our time together, and I had watched Meeya start as this young actress, and she got married, and now she was pregnant, and we had this very real relationship. And so when Susan has this tender moment of sending her off into the world, oh, we were just bawling. I mean, it was like we're just we were just in it.
In the moment.
We were in it. Yeah. So yeah, I'll never forget that. And all my great scenes with the women, like great scenes with Karen and great scenes with Mary Beth. I mean, I didn't get to work with Alex as much as I would have liked. But yeah, yeah, I can't pick a favorite, Dale. It's too hard.
I always do it, always with the favorites. But what if it's in the universe now that you might do a short film with Alex now? Because you've done one with Roger, and now in the universe could happen.
Yes, I say yes. Let's call her up. Alex Dale says we have to do a film together. She says yes.
Yeah, I already know the answer. I know the answer.
I would love
Now,
it.
I gotta say, we are at the last question. You've survived 50 minutes of this.
Gosh, it's gone by so fast. Okay.
Now, this is just a reflection. What do you like to do in your spare time? What hobbies give you that motivation outside of acting?
Well, this is actually very easy for me because I have a new pet passion. Do you know that my husband is a two-time Olympian, that he's a silver medalist? Do you know this?
No, I did not. I know you were married, but that did not come up in my research.
Yes, my husband, Scott Doney, is a two-time Olympian. He won a silver medal for 10-meter platform diving in Barcelona in 92, and he took fourth place for 3-meter springboard diving in Atlanta in 96. So we've been married for 21 years. I met him after he retired from the Olympics, and we have a daughter. She's 19 now. And so he coaches at Columbia University. And I've for a long time, like my daughter dives a little, like I always go to his meets. I'm like the biggest fan. And now my empty nest activity since our daughter went to college is I am learning how to dive.
Ooh.
And I cannot tell you how much fun it is. First of all, I've been married to this man for 21 years, and now I have to do everything he says if I'm going to be safe. So that's kind of fun. And it challenges like what I think is possible, especially as a woman of a certain age. Like, can I do a flip off a 3-meter board? Well, it turns out I can. And so I go all the time. It's so much fun. The other day, my husband and my daughter and I were doing like synchronized diving at the pool, and it was just, I don't know, it's just really, really fun. But other than that, which is what I like to do in my spare time, I just love acting. Like there's no part of me that wants to retire. I just feel like the roles get more and more interesting as I get older. There's a freedom when you sort of leave those like young actress roles. You get to be you get to play all sorts of roles. Like maybe president
I was just
of
about to make a joke about that. Wait, watch there be a president role
of
sometime in the future?
Australia. I'd have to learn an Australian
Uh,
accent. Do you have a woman prime minister
well,
right
we've had
now?
not currently, but
Not right
we've had in the past. We've had a few in the a few.
Don't ask me. Don't ask me any questions. I'm going to embarrass myself.
I'm worse. I can't even name. I think more than 4 prime ministers that we've had. That I really pay attention to, but my country's history.
What about New Zealand? Do they have a president or a prime minister?
I only know 4 from my country. I don't think I could name a single
Okay,
New
never mind.
Zealand.
Let's change the subject. We're not going to embarrass ourselves any further.
No, no, no.
But I'm just saying, I love what I do, and every time I get a new script, I love it. I love auditioning. I love rehearsing. I love all of it. So hopefully, I'll just keep doing that until it's lights out.
Do you think you'll want to do more game work in the future?
100%. 100%. I think it's really an exciting time to be in gaming. I think it's just growing and growing and growing. And now I've got some skills, that I could bring to the table.
Well, I gotta say that was the last question. That's it. That was the last question.
Well, this has been delightful.
Thank you for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate that. Congratulations on being the 4th Red Dead person I've interviewed.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute privilege. I can't wait to see who's next. Who's next?
I'm trying to get a few. There's something in the works.